6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody.
How's it going?
Thursday? It's almost the weekend again. This is happening quickly for me.
Yeah, this week has gone really quick.
It's good. I finally got a massage. I have missed my last 2 massages because of things going on.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to get one today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
And
I see True Crime Cat.
It's done a whole month.
I see True Crime Cat Sandy is back on the job.
Miss Sandy is back on the job, and actually BB is in here too. We'll see if she'll come up here so I can show you her gorgeous face.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sandy she sleeps on my bed during the day quite a bit, and I'll be like, Sanders, you want to go on the show? And she'll look at me, and she'll like, Sometimes she'll get up, and other times she's like, nah, and goes back to sleep. She's like,
It depends. It really has to be worth it
today or not.
Yes. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad she decided to make it.
Me too. She's such a silly old woman.
She is. Well, we are still very cold sub-zero here, at least at night and in the mornings. But I hope the rest of you guys that are having all kinds of wild weather are doing well. So
Me
today,
because I mean, like, we know what to do with it, but I know a lot of you that are experiencing this, you don't know.
Yeah. So today, currently going on, has been the live stream of the Brian Kohberger hearings happening today, as well as Corey Richins. And so I know some of you guys are probably watching those as we speak, and that's cool. We'll talk about both of them next week. Basically, both camps are arguing the constitutionality of certain things. No surprise. But Kohberger's camp is mostly arguing the constitutionality of the DNA and the way it was acquired, and whether or not they had proper warrants for that or not. Corey's camp is arguing the 14th Amendment, whether or not some of the evidence that was gained by tossing her cell was okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that was the walk the dog letter and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Even
among
if they
other
drop
things.
that stuff, they have a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that prisoners really have rights to privacy in prison, do they?
Yeah, our Fourth Amendment. I'm sorry.
Anytime.
Yeah, do they? I mean, they're claiming that the letter should be inadmissible. Sorry, under the 4th, not the 14th Amendment, because it was a letter to her attorney.
And I mean that
the problem was it wasn't
maybe?
to her attorney. It was to her mother, who was supposed to pass information along to her attorney.
That's right.
And that's kind of the
if you add a
there.
third party, I mean, you think about, like, if you're in the room talking to your lawyer and another person is present who isn't your attorney, then it's not privileged anymore.
Right.
So wouldn't that apply also to that letter, including that third party?
Mm-hmm. I would think so. They're also
my argument.
arguing about electronic data, some of the statements that she made to the police. You know, basically they're trying to get as much evidence thrown out as they can. That's the job of the defense. You know, they're just...
Well, yeah, because they were trying to
doing their
claim
work.
that she hadn't been Mirandized and that the police knew that she had an attorney when they questioned her, but she hadn't been Mirandized, so she wasn't under arrest at that point. That always gets kind of...
Gets messy.
Dicey.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, lots of interesting things happening. So we'll talk about that more next week when that all wraps up. But for today, we've got some, oh boy, have I got an interesting case with a sad and happy ending. I don't know. But you're going to grace us with Idaho 2 times over today. So I'm going to let you kick us off with one of your Idahos.
You bet. Oh, Idaho, sometimes we get it right. And this lady right here is actually showing some real class right now. This is a woman from Boise, Idaho. Her name is Pamela Hemphill. And she was charged
For
on
fuck's sake,
January
we have a
6th.
neutral. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah, whatever, jackass. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about Pamela Hemphill instead of
Let's
dumb
do.
trolls, right? So Pamela Hemphill was offered a pardon because she was involved in the January 6th insurrection, and she was known as the MAGA Granny. You might have heard of her. A judge sentenced her to 2 months in jail, 3 years of probation, and a $500 fine in a Washington court. She actually pleaded guilty to her charges in 2022. It was a misdemeanor count of parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building. That was in exchange for dropping 3 additional misdemeanor charges against her.
Yeah.
Now, she was one of the 1,500 people who have been pardoned by Trump. And Pamela said no. She is refusing her pardon. She said, I do not want this. Here's what she said. Accepting the pardon would be an insult to the Capitol police officers, to the rule of law, to our nation. The J6 criminals are trying to rewrite history by saying that it was not a riot. It wasn't an insurrection. I don't want to be a part of their trying to rewrite what happened that day. She has come out since, this all occurred, saying that she knows now how wrong she was and that she got sucked in and that she was listening to false information that got her involved in this in the first place. And she doesn't want to. Oh, hey, fuck
I've got
you, buddy.
it.
See ya.
I'm on it.
You got it? Okay. Great. Anyway, she said, you know what? I'm not rewriting history. I did that. And I know now it was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. And what we were doing was wrong. Many of us were duped into our involvement that day, but it doesn't change the fact that we committed crimes. This woman is 71 years old.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I have a lot of respect for her. I think she's a badass for taking responsibility and not pretending like this wasn't what she absolutely knew that it was.
Yeah.
So there are others. It looks like there are actually other people who are rejecting the pardons too. So we'll talk about more of them because I think that's a stand-up human being who recognizes I did a bad thing. I shouldn't get pardoned for something that I, in fact, did, that I pled guilty to, that I know that I did.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I'm pretty impressed that she's an Idahoan.
Yeah.
And would do that.
Yeah. More
She
power
has
to her.
spoken to the news previously after her conviction and everything and talked about her experience with being sucked in.
And much to her detriment because she's been harassed relentlessly because of making those statements. Yeah.
She has, yeah. Yeah, she's been treated like crap. But I have a ton of respect for her, that she owns it, that she recognizes now that she got duped into something and that she did a wrong thing. And I just think that's a lot of class.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share her name. I'll show you her face one more time. Way to go, Pamela.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing here. So
Yeah.
I just think it's cool when people can own up to something that they've done. That's somebody that's not going to commit a crime again.
No, this has drug her through hell. She's been horrified at how humiliating and terrible this has been for her family and how she wanted this to be different moving forward. Yeah. And this is the example she felt like she needed to set for her family to right the tide.
Yeah, absolutely. And for her to say, I'm not participating in rewriting history.
Yes.
And she's exactly right, because that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Is that history is being rewritten. We all know what happened. We've all watched the videos. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to be a part of that. And that's awesome. Way
Yeah.
to go, Pamela. Way to go, Idaho.
Yeah. We
Win
don't get to say
sometimes.
that very often.
No, we don't. And that's why I said it. All righty. And with that, I'm going to kick the mic back to you for our main case.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a step back to 2020. And I want to tell you, get back to my correct notes here. I want to tell you about this beautiful girl right here. This is Vanessa Ceja Ramirez.
Okay.
And Vanessa went missing on November 20th, 2020 in Midlothian, Illinois. She was 22.
Okay.
She had gone on a walk with her mom and her mom's friend to a place called Midlothian Meadows. This place right here. It's a forest preserve. It's kind of on the edge of a forest, it looks like. And people walk there and run there and, recreate there. So she had gone on a walk with her mom and her mom's friend. And she kind of trailed behind and had texted her mom and said, hey, this is too much for me. I'm tired. I'm going to go back to the car. And I'm going to say right now, because somebody will definitely come and, have a different opinion here, and it's okay. It depends on the news story that you listen to, if she stopped to tie her shoe and fell behind, or if she just simply fell behind because she was all done. So that's kind of what happened. She, either way, she fell behind. She texted her mom and said, hey, I'm going to head back to the car. And then a while later, she sent her another text that was nonsensical. And her mom was like, huh, okay. Well, once they were done, they headed back to the car. And once they got back to the car, she was not there. And at that point, her phone was going straight to voicemail. Her mom could not get a hold of her. And eventually the police were called, and a manhunt started that lasted for 2 days. In the meantime, the mom did find my phone search for her phone and located it at an apartment complex, and so it was somewhere around 60 miles from there. And so the police were there searching. They were searching that whole woodland area. And unfortunately, 2 days later, Vanessa's body was located in that deeper into the forest. She had been bound, she had been sexually assaulted, and she had been choked to death.
Oh, God.
And again, this is in 2020. Yeah, Brittany, we are still on YouTube. Yeah, everything is on YouTube. I don't know. YouTubes can be so funny sometimes, but yeah, everything is on YouTube.
Our shows are all done as lives, so you definitely want to look at the tab that says live streams on it, because we don't pre-record anymore, and so sometimes I think that might get confusing, but we're there.
Yeah.
This is our 4th show this week.
Yeah. Again, YouTube makes things hard to find sometimes. I wish they didn't. But so the reason this story is coming up right now is because it's been now quite some time, 4 years and more. Well, there has finally been an arrest. So we're going to talk about that and how they came across the guy. So this is the suspect.
Oh, boy.
His
Neck
name...
tattoos. I don't know, man. It just never bodes well.
I know. What is it with him?
And I love tattoos. I'm not judging.
I
It's
know,
just like,
but...
you see those.
So his name is Dakota Petrey. He is 30 years old. He was arrested on January 18th. He had been in the Fulton County Jail due to a motorcycle theft. And the day he was released, they immediately rearrested him into the Cook County Sheriff's custody. So they have been looking at him since she vanished. Prosecutors have been looking at him. Petrey knew
Really?
police were looking at him since she vanished. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say I'm still puzzled as to why it has taken this long to make an arrest, but I'm glad there has been an arrest. So here's what happened. When they did the Find My Phone app that sent them to first to a school and then to an apartment building, they were searching this building. Well, now they know that Petrey was in his apartment watching the police searching this building, pacing in front of the windows and acting really weird with the lights off. He told her if the police came to the door not to answer, and that he was acting really strange. So then, of course, we know that that her body was found 2 days later. She was also partially burned. Like maybe he was trying to get rid of the evidence. I'm not sure on that.
God.
So then on November 10th, Petrey's nephew called the tip line and said that his mother, who is Petrey's sister, said that she felt like that sounded like a crime that he would commit. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's rough.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
And then said that he had asked his sister for help moving his van that had been parked just blocks away from where her body had been found. And she just thought that was really sus. So she and her nephew called the police and told them.
Wow.
So then in December...
That's brave.
Yeah. In December, they learned that in late October, he had gotten a notice that his apartment was going to be treated for bed bugs on November 4th. So November 4th is 2 days after Veronica went missing. And he had a fit with his landlord, sent them a letter, refused to let exterminators come in, got really weird about it, and so they evicted him. They had it with his nonsense, apparently. So he and his girlfriend moved out in November 2020. In December 2020, police searched their apartment. The landlords had actually secured the apartment and left it as is for the police to come and search. So everyone thinks there's something up with this guy. So they search it. They find a zip tie, some lighter fluid, and a cell phone. It turned out not to be her cell phone. Her cell phone has never been found. But they think that last weird text that her mother received was probably him on her phone. But, yeah, it's all just what you would think, you know?
Mm-hmm.
In January 21, so this is just a few months later, they sit down and interview Petrey's sister, who tells them that he has now moved to Tennessee and tells them she believes he had something to do with the murder. Wow. She said that he was very familiar with that preserve, that he hung out in it a lot as a teenager. And because of the van and because of how weird he's been acting, she just really thinks that he had something to do with this. Wow. She didn't really have any proof beyond that, but she was pretty adamant that she felt like he did. Mm-hmm. So then in April of 2021, they survey him at his workplace in Tennessee and get a hold of a can that he'd been drinking from, and they do his DNA testing. And the DNA on the can matches DNA found in the shoes that had belonged to Veronica Ramirez.
Wow.
Then they discover that in text messages between him and the girlfriend around the same time, he tells her that something is wrong with him. It's just who he is, and he can't help it. That he's a psycho or something, and that he's evil. He tells the girlfriend that he's a horrible person, and he can't help himself for things. He says he's sick in the head, and he can't say anything more. He tells her that if he told her, she would not love him anymore, and things can be bad, but he doesn't want things to get worse.
Yikes.
So she asked him, you know, like, what the hell are you talking about? You're scaring me. Did you hurt someone? And he says he can't say. So then in September of 2021, the police sit down and interview him. And he denies having any contact with Veronica Ramirez or ever having had her phone. He says he hasn't been at the preserve since he was age 10 or 11. He submits to a DNA testing via cheek swab.
Okay.
Okay. Then in 2023, he moves to Central Illinois and gets in a whole bunch of trouble with the law. He has some charges like aggravated fleeing and eluding, multiple traffic offenses. We know he was in trouble for stealing a motorcycle. He did a little time in jail over that one. So then on January 14th, 2025, they sit down and interview him again at the Fulton County Jail. And he tells the police that he doesn't believe in DNA evidence, or that the DNA evidence that they have that, ties him to Veronica, and says that as soon as he gets out of jail, he's going to move back to Chicago to live with his sister. Terrifying. Is this the same sister? I'm assuming. I mean,
Also,
are you kidding me?
if they knew his DNA matched in 2021, why was he still out?
Right. And I keep saying
22.
Veronica, and her name is Vanessa. I'm so sorry. It is Vanessa, not Veronica.
Oh, okay.
Right. Why?
What the
I don't
hell?
know.
If they have his DNA at her crime scene.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's released on January 18th, 2025, immediately taken back into custody and charged with the murder of Vanessa Ramirez. And that's where things sit right now. I don't understand how it has taken this long. It terrifies me to think of what other things he has done or could have done during this time.
Right.
They had
They just
DNA
let him be
evidence
out
in
there.
2021. Yeah.
That is insane. And he's just been out causing mayhem
Yeah.
all this time? Right, DNA's on the shoe, not on her, but I mean, it's still at her crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. So I believe there actually is DNA on her as well. It depends. Again, there's a lot of articles right now, and some of them did say that there was DNA on the body, and some of them just said that it was on the shoe. So maybe that remains to be seen. I have not read through the arrest documents yet, but that's what happened. Yeah, I'm dumbfounded that they basically knew it was him, and he knew that they knew all of this time, but it's taken this long to put their case together to
Leaves
arrest
the
him.
state and gets
Yeah.
in all this other trouble? Like, I mean, if they had the
Yeah.
DNA back in 21, and then they arrested him when he got out of jail in 25, I mean, did they get other evidence in the meantime? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think they were slowly building their case. Yes, like getting the electronic
Damn
evidence
slow.
together and stuff like that. But yeah,
Jesus, to let somebody like that be out on the street when they've got that kind of evidence against him, I don't get it.
yeah, me neither. But so it's a huge relief for her family. They have really tried to advocate for her. They've had rallies. They've spoken to the news many times. Like, they've really tried to keep her story in the forefront, hoping that at some point there would be an arrest. So at least there finally is. She was a teacher's assistant in a school and was also going to college. So she was early 20s. She was just working on herself, figuring her life out.
Building her life.
Mm-hmm.
That's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Vanessa, Jesus. And her family.
Yeah.
Did the girlfriend report that conversation?
No. Well, I think that just came from... Eventually, I believe she did. They did interview her at some point, so I think so. But they also had finally, at some point, been able to subpoena his electronics and had received that information. So they had that. But yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
Well, I mean, I'm glad they've got him now, but that seems like a real slow response.
I read through his Facebook earlier today. Some of it. My goodness, he's one of those people that posts on Facebook like 100 times a day.
Oh, boy.
Maybe not 100, but a lot, and constant reshares and reshares and reshares. And kind of the theme of his Facebook is that he's dark and doing better, and that kind of misunderstood, nobody really gets me kind of theme. Also,
Gross.
literally no one ever likes or comments on anything. It's kind of like, some people, they use their Facebook kind of as their own just dumping journal. It's kind of
Yes.
more like that. So,
Oy. I hate that.
hmm
Back when I used Facebook, I haven't used Facebook in a long time, but
yeah,
that's weird.
yeah, yeah. Well,
But this, I'm just misunderstood. No, you're a rapist and a murderer. We understand you,
yeah, yeah.
asshole. Wow.
But they've had his DNA in the system now for a while, so, I, but you definitely have to wonder, was this really the
Right, but
first
that's
and only
unconvicted.
time?
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully now it'll eventually they'll be able to share it.
Right, get it into CODIS and
Yeah.
because you really have to wonder, like, especially with those texts to the girlfriend, like that he believes there's something wrong with him, that he's evil, that he's something, I.
And things plural.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does that mean people plural?
Right. What does that
Oof.
mean? Scary. Yep. So, at any rate, he's in custody now, and we'll keep an eye on that one. So, but I wanted to share that. I wanted to share Vanessa's story. She deserves that. She
Most
uh,
definitely.
she did not deserve any of this at all.
No, she sure did not.
So that is Vanessa, and
Oh,
all of the love to her family.
yeah. Maybe sometime they'll get something that will feel like an end to this.
Yeah, yeah. I conviction, will bring some kind of justice, I'm sure. So, yeah, and for that community, because this was scary as hell to everybody who
Right?
walked in that park in that area, that lived in that area. Like, this was really shocking and terrifying, of course, to everyone who lived there. And
Yeah.
now for
Well,
the
to
killer
just
to have
think that
been
you're just not
loose.
safe walking back to your car. Like, really?
Yeah, yeah. Well, reading through the articles and the comments on the articles, yeah, that was basically, I don't know why we can't be more team, let's not murder, and less team, well, why did her mother leave her? Well, why would she walk back to the car by herself? Well, you just can't.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
don't
No.
murder.
Yeah. Don't murder. None of us should have to feel at risk just walking back to our own damn cars.
No, and she
And
wasn't a
it's also no one's
child.
fault
She
except
was
for the
an
person who did
adult.
this. Right.
Exactly. This wasn't her mother's fault in any way whatsoever. Stuff like that makes me so angry and frustrated that
It's such
every
misogyny.
time, yeah, every time something like this happens, people dive in to look for a reason why it was the victim's fault or anyone's fault besides the person who did it.
Right. But it's so often an excusing of men
Always, yeah.
when we hear stuff like that. Yeah.
This was Dakota
Ridiculous.
Petrey's fault and his alone. Period. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Kristi says people say things like that when they have never been scared of being attacked and killed, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Like most of us women have had that fear before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, with that, I'm going to kick it back over to you for a little more Oh, Idaho.
All right. Well, it's nice to have been able to bring a positive story forward from Idaho because now I have, well, just a painfully stupid one. Our legislature is back in session doing pointless, unnecessary things as they're known to do, which is pretty much all they do. They attack their own people and they're constantly putting out bills that are unconstitutional and getting struck down. That's just
Yeah.
ridiculousness we have. Well, right now, we have a bill that has moved forward. Um, it's our old friend Bruce Skog from Nampa. We talked about him last night. He's the one who presented the bill to make the firing squad our main form of
The death penalty.
the death penalty, right? Well, now, this is so dumb. First of all, know this. Idaho is now the only state in the United States that does not have some form of legal marijuana. We're the only holdout.
Yep.
Well, now he wants to pass a bill that would create a mandatory minimum fine of $300 for anyone convicted of marijuana possession. It's a misdemeanor. Right now in Idaho, misdemeanors have a $0 to $1,000 fine that is determined by a judge. And
Right.
a lot of simple possessions aren't given a fine because
Right. It's just the judge's
really
discretion. Yeah.
anyone with a brain knows it's really stupid to be arresting people for simple marijuana possession as it is. But boy, not Bruce. Bruce wants every single person who gets convicted of a simple marijuana possession to have to pay a $300 fine. Because this is what's important in Idaho right now.
Right.
This is what we need to worry about.
Bruce is laying in bed at night thinking of the more extreme, outrageous things that he can propose. Last year he proposed the same bill, only he wanted it to be a $420 fine. You know, 420. Haha. Get it? Funny group. Funny Bruce. Real funny.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get that passed, so now he's shooting for a $300 fine.
Yeah.
Why?
Bruce is incredibly stupid. Bruce made some statements about marijuana use and calling it a gateway drug and,
Yes.
real 90s dare kid stuff. Something else that he said is that a marijuana high can last anywhere from 3 days to a week.
What?
Yeah. Which, the truth is maximum it's 12 hours, and that's max. Bruce is an idiot and doesn't actually know anything about marijuana and made a bunch of statements about the opioid epidemic and a bunch of other dumb shit while he was presenting this because he doesn't know anything about actual marijuana.
No.
And, there have been people testifying about how much they would like legal cannabis in Idaho and how helpful it is for chemotherapy side effects, for people with Parkinson's disease, kids with epilepsy, all that stuff, right? Right. You guys are hilarious. Kathy says, where does he get his stuff, right? That's some strong weed. 3 days to 7 days, yeah. He is an idiot. But now we are back with this stupid, pointless law. There's already a penalty schedule for misdemeanors, and judges can take care of that. We don't need our legislature getting involved. But this is what our legislators in Idaho do all the time, is they try to enact unnecessary laws to make things illegal that are already illegal, or, to try to make sure he really sticks it to anybody who gets a misdemeanor marijuana charge, as we sit as the stupidest state in the United States for many reasons, this one being one. So, anyway, screw that guy. I don't know if it'll go through. The last time the 420 bill did not make it.
No, but it's already advanced through the first hurdle,
has.
so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, does he just sit home at night getting high on his extremely powerful marijuana, coming up with stupid shit that is unnecessary? Like
and
the
why
firing
don't
squad
they?
thing. Like, that's a real problem for us here.
Why don't other legislators stand up to him and shut him down?
Right. But they don't, because
They
most of
don't.
them are just like him, unfortunately.
Or because if they don't, they will. They know they'll get primaried and they'll be done.
Right. Yeah. Our state has been taken over by some incredibly stupid and hateful people.
Yeah.
And this is just one dumb example, but he wanted to make sure that if it was marijuana possession, that you got a fine.
The hard part of the worst part about that is taking the jurisdiction away from the judges. The judges have discretion to rule on a sentence, and when the legislature starts deciding that they should tell the judges what their sentence has to be, that especially that's a mandatory sentence, that takes all the discretion away from the judge to look at a situation individually for what it is. And that's a slippery slope. It's not a good place to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, what happens in possession cases is that frequently it's a sick person.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone who's dying of cancer and needs it or whatever, So the judge should be able to look at case by case.
Right.
Rather than this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Joelle, well, I have gotten some bad intel because Joelle says we don't have medical or recreational marijuana in Kansas.
Oh.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry your state is as dumb as ours. I mean, there's so much time and money wasted in our legal system dealing with stuff like this that is unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wish that, our legislators in Idaho actually took care of things that really need taking care of.
Right.
Like our schools and our infrastructure and our homelessness problem that we have so little help and resources for.
Yep. Yep.
Joel says our state is very dumb except our governor. Well, I'm glad you have a good governor because our governor is also very dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you have people legislating on things like this who clearly don't understand marijuana and at all know anything about it and just throw out bullshit as though it is true, like, what good is that?
Right. Yeah, it's wild. Well,
that's what I've got.
We'll keep an eye on that one too. Well, you guys, that's what we've got for the week. Now, remember that starting on Monday, we are only going to be streaming on YouTube. This doesn't affect very many of you, but we were streaming to Facebook and to Twitter. We're really stepping away from Meta and from X for our safety reasons, and so we're only going to stream on YouTube moving forward. The podcast will always be everywhere, so it'll still be on Apple, it'll still be on Spotify, it'll still be all the places that you're used to getting it. This only affects the live stream, so please know that it's a small thing that's going to affect very few of you, but we wanted to make sure that you knew that we were making that change. So starting Monday, we'll only be streaming to YouTube, and then of course the podcast will blast out everywhere per normal, so no worries there whatsoever.
And if you're just watching on one of those other platforms, just go follow us on YouTube. I mean, it's not that hard, and probably most of you are using YouTube anyway. True Crime Squad, that's us.
Yep.
And hit the bell so that you can subscribe to our notifications.
Yep.
And
Should
we'll
be simple
here like
enough.
We are always here.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. And that's it. So we'll keep an eye on how things wrap up with Kohberger and with Corey Richens, and we'll talk about it on Monday. And that's what we've got. So you guys have a great weekend. Please take good care of yourselves. You're so worth it. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.
Season 6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.